Okay, I'm going to attempt to do a spine for the rectangle. So I'll click, actually I'm going to try and do a spine, and I'm going to add several points. So I'm hitting the add button. I'll do 5, that's good enough. And let's create a point on a plane. Pick the XY plane. I'm just going to start, let me think here. I'll start here, create a point on the XY plane. We'll come over here, create another point on the XY plane. You guys do whatever you feel. I want them to all be kind of different, but I'm just going to keep repeating my steps. I'm building some kind of curve for this thing to follow. All the points have to be on the plane in order for this to work for me. Alright, so I've got a spine. I'm going to create a line. I'm going to create points. And I'll do my magic number of 10 with ends. Select this curve and select OK. Now we can create a line normal to curve. This curve at this point 90 degrees. I'll reverse the direction and go, I don't know, doesn't matter, let's go 3 inches or so. Again, I'm creating that so I can create an axis on that point, on this point, and have the Y go on this line. The Y is going the wrong way, so I'm going to reverse the direction. I don't like the Z going down, I'm going to reverse the Z. Y. Alright, I got a little situation. I need a line normal to the XY plane to set up for the Z. So it's probably good for you guys to see. I'm going to go to line, select that point, normal to surface. The surface is going to be the XY plane, and that's fine. If I double click this axis, I can now use this vertical line to set the Z. Now I've got Y and Z going on these two lines. Select OK. And the reason why I do that is now, if you imagine there is no absolute axis, just hide it. I'm working in true airplane coordinates. If I hit ISO view, it's just like I've been working on this absolute axis. Okay, so this is called setting up your local axis system. Right, we want to have a nice easy local axis to work with. So I'm going to pick this plane, and create a sketch. Normal to view. And I'm going to create a rectangle. Exit out. Go into my ISO view. Under surface we have the adapt. The default is this last sketch I created, and since it's active it always wants to grab that guide curve as my sketch, and I really want this curve to be my guide curve, and where it says sketch I want to use the sketch I used. Select preview, select OK, no problem, except for what happens if I want to change parameters. Why, when I select the parameters, is there no parameter values to change? Reason being, I never constrained it in my sketch. Okay, I'll hide the adaptive surface. Let's hit auto constrain and highlight everything. I'm going to reference these two lines as our vectors as my datums. Stack dimensions, say OK. And for some reason it does that. I'm going to exit out, go into my ISO view. And double click, hide pull the adaptive surface out of hide. Double click it, and I'm going to open up the points here. Add points. Select OK. All of a sudden I get this error coming up. Doesn't like it. What happened? Let's go back to my sketch. Normal to view. Doesn't really seem to like me doing that auto constrain and linking it up to that axis. It's all about linking to the axis. It just doesn't seem to like it. Whoops, whoops, whoops. What did I do? I'm going to go back to the sketch. I'm just double clicking on the sketch here. I'll delete it again. Maybe the problem was because I added those points after I did the adaptive surface. Okay, so let's go back here. It's not liking something. I don't know of a faster way. Let's see. Yeah, I can't seem to delete multiples. I feel like the only way I can do this is to just do them one at a time. Okay, so it's good here. Let's try and add a point. Right away it got into an error already. So let's remove that one. And let's go back to my sketch. Actually, I wasn't expecting a problem yet. I created the rectangle off the axis. Okay, and then I'm going to add 0.6. Preview that, and it's okay. Pull this out of hide. Let's add this point. Preview that. Select OK. Now all I did is not work around the axis. Let's go back to the sketch. And let's highlight. Highlight this. Auto constrain. Select OK. Exit. It's still okay. Alright, let's go back to adaptive sweep. Oh no, let's go back to the sketch, and now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to highlight this profile, and I'm going to drag this right there over the sketch, and we'll exit out and go to the ISO view. And all of a sudden, everything seems to be okay. Let's double click adaptive sweep and remove those points, and see if I can't quickly add them back in just right off the tree. I just find it way easier to grab them off the tree. Preview that. Now I got that error back. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this. Double click this, remove that, and remove that. Select OK. Seems to be fine right now. Double click this. I'm going to add this point and this point and hit preview. Add this point and this point. Hit preview. I'm just kind of feeding along the way to see if there is an issue. With these points. And for some reason, when I don't pick the points off the tree, it's allowed me to go to the end, which doesn't make sense. Uh-oh. Why you're not letting me get that last point. Okay, preview that. And you can see when I picked the geometry in the 3D environment, I didn't have any issues. But when I picked the points off the tree, it gave me that weird error message. So I just want to point out some of the crazy things I find with this adaptive sweep surface. As cool as it is, it has some weird quirks that I don't really fully understand why it would be an issue. So anyways, just to double check this, we can go to the adaptive sweep. I'll change point 3 here to a different parameter. I'll change that one to 3 and 4. I hit enter, so it's going to say okay to that. Okay. So the problem I'm having is when I go to this sketch and it's not green, it's not growing symmetrical about the axis. And I don't know what weird thing's going on. I don't have any control over that. So I'm going to exit out of this. Again, I remember earlier I had it dimension from the center to out and center to out. Under this adaptive sweep, I'll come back to number 3 parameter. Oh god. 2 and 1. Go to number 3 and go back to 2 and 1. And all of a sudden it's okay again. Let's go to this sketch here. I'll try and constrain it again. It's going to be 1 inch and constrain the horizontal to the bottom. It's giving me some challenge here grabbing that bottom line. Let's constrain this H to this bottom line, and that would be a 1/2 inch. Let's exit out. Let's change number 3 again. Now you see I've got more parameters to control. I'll change this one to 2.5, which makes this one 1 1/4, and we'll change this one to 1 1/2, and change this one to 3/4. Select OK. Okay, so what I want to do here is, it's kind of a pain trying to remember what to change to what. I'll move this dimension down. So I want this constraint to be 1/2 of this constraint. So I will double click this, and then oh, it won't let me do formulas. That's the problem here. I don't get to do formulas inside here. That's an issue I had earlier. So you have to remember which is which when you go to edit these values. Alright, so it's a little quirky on how we go about dimensioning it, but I want to see if you guys can create something with your own crazy shapes, your own crazy parameters. The key to this is knowing how to set up the absolute axis or the local axis system, and then how to get it constrained so you don't get that crazy error message. Okay, that concludes this demo here.